Today on the Philly Tall podcast, the Eagles sign another young cornerback who's also a Pro Bowl returner. Two players that could have value across the league via trade before final cuts. Derek Barnett and Trey Sermon. Haason Reddick updates us on that injured thumb. And why haven't we seen Nolan Smith practice since this supposedly small injury? Plus, A.J. Brown comes to the podium today saying, Eagle Nation, don't compare me and Devonta Smith. We're great together. Be happy y'all got two wide receiver ones.
This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike. Talking sixes in the bird gang, that's I like. Competition, we ain't scared, yeah, that's what we like. Win or lose, you know we showing up and we gon' fight. You see we strive for the sky every day that go by. And every single week we screaming fly, Eagles fly. This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike, yeah. This is Philly Talk with Philly Mike, yeah.
What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, and this is the Philly Tall Podcast, and today we got a lot to get into, but before we do that, Eagle Nation, can I ask y'all a favor? Help your boy out. Hit that like, subscribe if you are new, and ding that bell. That way you're notified when we drop these videos or go live. Don't forget to pick up This Is Just the Beginning, Air Hurts. We got the shirts available. Link will be in the description, and you can find it pinned at the top of the comment section. Ain't drop a video in 3 days, and the orders are still coming in. I greatly appreciate it. So, Isaiah Rodgers is signed to the Eagles. Now, he is suspended. He was a part of that, 5 to 10 people who were caught and suspended for gambling on games. To me, it's not a big deal the way they did it, but the NFL is going to suspend him for a year. According to Brendan Dido, he was the 5th highest graded cornerback last season on Pro Football Focus, and he's only 25 years old. So he's coming in to compete with Eli Ricks, Josh Jobe, Keely Ringo, not this year, but next year. Again, eventually Slay and Bradbury will retire. They'll get old. We need as many young corners to pick from when the opportunity presents itself. However, he was an all-pro/Pro Bowl return man. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but he is electric with the ball in his hand. 101 kick return against the Browns. He almost took a 75-1 to the house against the Bucks with 40 seconds left for the win. The dude is a electric return man, and the Eagles been looking for something like that. So, shout out to Isaiah Rodgers for joining the Eagles. Howie Roseman with a great signing. Speaking of signings, y'all inboxed me this as soon as he was released. I haven't looked him up yet, but Christian Kirksey is released from the Texans. He started 29 games over the past 2 seasons for Houston and was a team captain last year. He recorded 124 tackles, 3 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, 7 quarterback hits, and 2 interceptions last year. Don't know why he was released by the Texans, but bring him into this linebacker competition, although I like Nakobe Dean, Christian Ellis, and Zach Cunningham. Now, a lot of people already talked about it, so I'm going to start with the Trey Sermon talk. Derek Barnett might not be the only Philadelphia Eagle getting shipped out. Running back Trey Sermon is considered to have trade value and could be dealt before tomorrow's roster cuts, per Jeff McClain. He was the lead back in the preseason as it pertains to touchdowns. He finished the preseason with 3 touchdowns. That was tied for first. Forgot who he was tied with, but we saw some good tape from him. He could be an addition for another team who's looking for a running back, who don't want to fight for him on the waiver wire and could be like, hey, we'll give a 5th, a 6th, a 7th round pick, and we ship out Trey Sermon. Is a 7th round pick a lot? No, but it's an additional pick for a guy like Howie Roseman who makes things happen out of nowhere. Now, the main breaking news today was Derek Barnett is looking to get out of Philly, right? Derek Barnett, through playing time, the 2017 first-round pick, should have trade value across the league. Again, if a team's looking to bolster their pass rush, get on that Eagles level where your second team and even your third team is dynamic, you might want to add Derek Barnett. I think if he hits the open market, you're going to have a handful of teams compete for him via waivers. If you give us a 5th, 6th, we'll ship him out. I was hoping for like a fourth. Some team really think that the potential's still there, minus the flags, and pull it for a fourth. I would absolutely do it. But at this point, it looks like the Eagles will keep him for maybe this year. So if you give us a fifth or sixth, again, don't matter how deep the draft pick is. Howie Roseman has a way of taking ugly picks and turning them into good picks, turning good picks to even better picks. So the more ammo for Howie Roseman, I'm all for it. Now, Haason Reddick updated us today when he said he'll be ready for week 1. He's figuring out what protective measures he'll need for his hand. Again, he got surgery on that thumb. He'll have to protect it somehow, but he will be there week 1, which is very good news for the Eagles, especially with what's going on with Nolan Smith. We'll get to that in a little bit. But Haason Reddick is looking to duplicate and or be better than he was last year. He spoke about this all offseason, that he feels like he's just getting started, that his name is finally catching up with the production. The fact that he was a double-digit sack guy for now 3 years in a row on 3 different teams, and this was his best season. And if you really look at the tape, he kind of got off to a slow start. If he's able to keep that intensity that he got since week 5, week 6, pretty much that Jags game, the whole season, you're looking at the league leader in sacks. And now with all the new toys on this defensive line, the fact that we're willing to get rid of Barnett because of how deep we are, it's only more opportunities for one-on-one battles as it pertains to Haason Reddick versus Josh Sweat, Brendan Graham, Fletcher Cox, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. You can't double them all. You might have to give the guy who was second in sacks last year, tied for second, some one-on-ones, and he will eat them. Eat them. Now, Nolan Smith, he has not practiced since the second preseason game. I mean, I like what I saw from him in this preseason game, the ability to close out on speedy receivers and make tackles that a lot of other ends couldn't get done. But this injury was supposed to be a small one. He said after the game that it was precautionary, that he could have came back in. He shook the interviewer's hand real hard talking about, does my arm look bad? But we haven't seen him in practice. I understand that the Eagles are a cautionary team, and I respect that. But to not see him in practice for 2 weeks, not a limited practice, not a small practice, not a by himself practice, nothing, has me slightly worried. Again, I didn't expect to see him in preseason game 3, but I do expect to have him practicing 2 weeks later when it was reported by him that it was precautionary. The Eagles really didn't make a big deal about it, but I'm starting to get worried. I just wish the young fella well. That's why it's really good news that Haason Reddick will be ready by week 1. Now, we're going to go over the long list of players already cut. Not too many surprising names, but listen what A.J. Brown said about the reporters, the media kind of picking Smitty or him.
AJ, do you feel like there are fans kind of picking Team AJ, Team Devonta? Do you sense that?
Not to even get into all that, but I sometimes you see it, and I have seen reporters just asking each of us questions, and I don't think you should do that. I think you should just enjoy both of us. It's not about me and Devonta. We're great together. We complement off each other really well, and like I said, that's another wide receiver 1 on the side of me, man. So I think everybody, the city of Philly or whoever, I think you should just appreciate both of us while you have us, because so.
Appreciate both these guys. Again, we have the rare scenario where we really do have 2 wide receiver 1s. I understand the fun talk on Twitter with your friends. Who do you think is going to have the better wide receiver year in 2023? A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. That's okay. I think he's talking about the guys who are straight team one, team the other. They both complement each other very well. You're talking about a tandem that has 2,600 plus yards together, 183 catches together, 18 touchdowns, and this is year 1 of the dynamic duo, right? A.J. Brown knows who Jalen Hurts is, but it was only 1 year with him, 1 year with Devonta Smith. Now you get a second year of both Smitty and A.J. learning from each other, right? The things that Smitty does well, going to get past to A.J. and vice versa. this duo has the opportunity to break records. And again, 2,700 yards, about 18 touchdowns, a $183 catches. It's not easy. Only one duo was better, and that was Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Not even Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, right? And again, if you look at it for a touchdown standpoint, Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill didn't do that. They had more yards and more catches, but not more touchdowns, not more first downs, right? So this duo can match a lot of duos in the NFL all time. We went from 8 years with no 1K wide receiver to now two. Two of them. Let's appreciate both A.J. Brown and, of course, Devonta Smith. Now, this is the list of cuts. Quentin Bell, Ian Book, Kennedy Brooks, Robert Cooper, Jason Hazelwood, Johnny King, Deion Kane, Tyreek Maddox-Williams, Olivia Spaga, Caleb Saunders, Freddie Swain, Marvin Wilson, Tyree Jackson, Dan Arnold, Tyrese Robinson, Dennis Kelly, Brett Toth, Josh Arrows, and Cameron Tom. Did any name ring a bell like, I didn't think he was going to get cut? Maybe Dan Arnold thought he could possibly be tight end too, but pretty much the names I read were names I expected to be cut. Even Tyree Jackson, I think this was the last year. We gave you a couple chances to make the roster, make the practice squad. You didn't really do it via injury, and now the athleticism really didn't live up to all the other stuff that we've seen. But there's one guy who hasn't been cut yet, and I think Eagle Nation will be really upset if he gets cut, and that is Eli Ricks, who's out here performing as one of the best corners in the preseason, playing against number one wide receivers in Michael Pittman Jr., slot guys in Alex Pierce, getting PBUs, having the best cornerback preseason for the Eagles. I like what Josh Jobe did. Keely Ringo struggled at times, but showed some promise. But again, I talked about this on the last video. Eli Ricks has the third highest pass coverage grade out of any quarterback in the preseason, 90.2. 15 targets on 67 pass snaps, 6 catches allowed for 90 yards, 3 pass breakups, 1 INT, and 1 touchdown. There's no reason why the Eagles don't make him a priority to sneak on the 53. He's not a starter. He's not better than Bradbury or Slay, but he should make the roster. And again, this guy can't play for the Eagles in 2023. He's a 2024. Let's see where he fits in. 25. Good grade by PFF. Electric return man. We will see. Eli Ricks, Isaiah Rodgers, Keely Ringo, Josh Jobe. The future just keeps getting bright, and the Eagles keep stacking them young corners because we got to literally see who's going to be the future. Real quick, Rashad Penny was asked to pick one teammate who's going to have a big year. And it's not just what Rashad Penny said. Everybody who's asked that question, whether it's Lane, Kelsey, Big Play Slay, A.J. Brown, now Rashad Penny, they all point to Jalen Carter. Everybody does. This was his exact words. Jalen Carter, I've never seen anything like that since playing against Aaron Donald. He's got the intangibles. Again, Rashad Penny, gonna hype his teammate up, but why does everybody pick the Rhino, baby Rhino, Jalen Carter? There's a reason. Last but not least, Cindy Brown, the NFL Rookie Watch, got Cindy Brown's stats up here, and again, spot starts, some in the fourth, some in the second, some in the third. But listen what he did. Cindy Brown arguably had the most impressive preseason for a safety this year. 76 coverage snaps, 1 target, 0 receptions allowed, 39.6 passer rating allowed, 13 total tackles. Brown is the only player this preseason to play at least 50 coverage snaps and not allow a single reception. Now, you can say, well, he's playing in the fourth quarter. He's playing against guys who are not going to make an NFL roster, and that is true. But still, I've seen rookies get beat by other rookies or no names. They're getting their feet wet. He's at least held his end of the bargain down, right? Nick Sirianni deploys him in the fourth quarter. He shut down the people who's in front of him. You can say, well, he didn't get targeted because the games were already in the books and we were running the ball and blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, when you look at what they do as a grade per coverage, they're going to find ways to make you included into that coverage. And so, again, Sidney Brown looks the part, hits like the part, talks like the part. We'll see if he gets any meaningful playing time in week 1, whether it's starting position and or in a 3 safety look, which we will see from Sean Desai, especially because I don't even know who the starting safeties are, to be exact. That's all we got today. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, Eagle Nation. Sorry for like the freezing up. I think the one video froze up. I don't know if it was Derek Barnett or something. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Drop the muscle emoji in the chat. Y'all been killing it. Don't forget to get your Air Hurt shirts. The link in the description and the pinned comment section. Until next time, you know what time it is. We out.